Hello and welcome to Unity News, the only news network you'll ever need. Before we begin our usual broadcast today, a special thank you to the brilliant folks who spent their time animating this holographic news anchor, Derek Hagan. The time has come to shift things up here, and for a long time we've needed a new holographic anchor. It's not the last time we'll be seeing my hologram, but for now we'll be putting this hologram on the shelf. So who's replacing me? Well, we've been working behind the scenes to bring you our new hologram, and we hope for the best results possible. Our new hologram isn't just anyone. The new hologram is made in tribute to the first Prime Speaker, who in his memory we have replicated so that he may forever see us through the times ahead. So without further ado, please welcome your new holographic anchor.
My thanks, Derek, and greetings to all those watching. That's right, your eyes do not deceive you. The voice of the first Prime Speaker now reaches to you from beyond his grave. I can't say it's better than being alive, but if he was alive, I'm sure he would have been honoured to have this opportunity. Now, we apologise for the slightly grainy appearance of my hologram. We received permission to use the image of the deceased speaker only a week ago, and could not complete the fine details in time for the 7th anniversary of his assassination. We'll have that fixed for next time. But now I'm back on screen, in front of an audience, and this time no bullet can ever cut me down. What more can a dead man ask for? So back to it then, shall we? Lengthy debates over the demilitarization of Council nations have for years looked to have no end in sight. The year-long argument has split the nations between two sides. Many nations stood by the order of the Council to demilitarize, seeing no further good use for armed forces. But the others are adamantly standing by the decision to maintain the current status quo, arguing that the threat of the Prethoryn hordes present an eternal danger, and to stand down would leave us all at threat. This is a lie. The Council of Unity has clearly stated that the threat of the Prethoryn swarm and the lesser amoeba have passed. While they may never be eradicated, they can be kept at bay so long as vigilance is maintained. As I speak, our council works tirelessly to ensure that the interests of humanity come first, even before the council itself. Because the balance of power has shifted. Where before we worked through trade and compromise, we must now also contend with the threat of force and violence once again. Typically, the post-federal nations are at the centre of this problem. None of you will remember, but even back when I was alive in the spring days of our council, these federalists were at the centre of our troubles. And today they soil the trust we put in them to move past this. I don't have ears, but I swear I can hear myself turning in my grave. Today the council ends this charade. Today we will see the true reason many refuse to stand down. A compromise has been made. All nations will stand down their ground forces, including all air and naval forces, and all void fleets will be reduced in size by half within 3 years, and then reduced again after review. All void vessels fitted with weapons of mass destruction or otherwise classed as highly lethal will be removed from all active and inactive vessels. However, these armaments need not be destroyed. They may be stowed away in stockpiles, and the upgrading or redesigning of these weapons is not prohibited. This ensures anyone who qualms with the Council over the threat of the Prethoryn cannot use the excuse of being left vulnerable. Even so, this was not enough. To entice our begrudging post-federal nations, the Council of Unity has offered to lax so-called anti-corporate laws in the post-federal nations. This was enough to bring them into fold. Let us hope they choke on their newfound corporate cash. The Council of Unity will maintain complete mobilization of void forces, so that its directly controlled fleet can enforce the stand-down orders. All anti-amoeba patrols will be handled by the Council. No one has an excuse to refuse demilitarization now. The Council, and I am certain I would have been too, believe this is the best possible outcome to what has been a trying time for all of us. And so we move on to our second topic, post-crisis restoration. Several welfare acts and industrial reforms are planned to breathe life back into still devastated countries. Some of the plans include the construction of more council schools, new council hospitals, council-funded agricultural industries, and in honour to those who died fighting the scourge, the council announces plans to construct new orphanages and to fund many existing ones. One of the first reforms, though, comes to drugs and the law. Next month, as part of the post-crisis revitalisation project, the council concludes its official reforms. Under the new reforms, all drugs besides one will become, circumstantially, legal. Council nations do not have to legalise any drugs, but are free to do so without reprimand from the council. And likewise, they may illegalise any drugs without reprimand. This is only under certain conditions, such as for medical use, or when only consumed at home, or in a designated public space. But the council believes this is a big step towards combating black markets and dangerous drugs. However, the council realise that many nations cannot bring about this change so soon after the devastating effects of the crisis. Even so, many may choose to enforce harsh anti-drug laws. This is unacceptable. Under the new reforms, no nation can illegalise any drugs created and distributed by the council itself. These C drugs, or council drugs, will be sold by council-owned stores across all nations. These council drugs are non-harmful supplements of mainstream drugs such as cocaine. In addition to being safer, they are produced in bulk and can be sold at prices below mainstream drugs. The aim of this is to encourage nations to legalise safe versions of illegal and dangerous drugs that have plagued our society. But under the new reforms, Zro, an extremely lethal substance that under no circumstance should be consumed in any form, is completely illegal and will be harshly stamped out. The previous law, where any person found in possession of Zro were punished with a death sentence, has been rescinded. Mainly because most of the people found in possession of it were already dead, and we can't put dead men on trial. That being said, it remains a mystery why many attempt to consume it at all. It doesn't do anything but kill you. False information about Zro has been distributed by unreliable and unofficial sources, stating that Zro has intense psychedelic properties and has lasting high effects longer than any known drug. Many of these unreliable sources go on to say that consuming Zro once mixed in with various random substances and taken in small doses is safe. Normally, this is where we'd cut away to a patient who consumes Zro in this way, and he or she would tell us why it is not safe. But there aren't any patients to speak to. I'm sure we're all stumped as to why. So before we finish, I'd like to remind everyone that taking the Sanctum drug the Council has been distributing since the Prethoryn crisis will still be mandatory for several years. And with that, we're done. So remember, unity is mandatory.
That's only a little creepy. Taking a dead man's voice and image and turning it into a holographic news anchor. They're not exactly very specific on details either.
Okay, I gave you a news file. Now give me all your files on particle physics.
You aren't interested in what we just watched? Usually it can't help but talk.
Kind of busy, Charlie. It's nice to look at the past, but we have to focus on the present right now. Work spent on these is a waste of my time, honestly. Now your files. Gimme!
Here you go then. So when might you find the time for another file then? Sometime in the next decade?
Oh, leave it. We shouldn't have been messing around with old files while we have more important things to do anyway. I'd just delete the rest and get back to whatever you were doing.
Right then.
Yeah. Bye.